In today's column, I want to go a little bit deeper into COP28, their goals, outcomes, and how they communicated the conference. So every year, COP meets to determine ambitions and responsibilities for climate action and to identify and assess climate measures and how well we are doing globally to fight climate change and also individually as nation states. And of course, every nation state has a voice at the table. So this year's conference was hosted by the United Arab Emirates, who hold the COP28 presidency. So the presidency's plan of action to deliver on the pillars of the previously agreed Paris Agreement focused on 4 key areas. And I believe these 4 key areas are such that individual nation states, governments and public sector agencies with key responsibilities should be hanging their communications hats on. So number 1, fast-tracking the energy transition. But let's think about it. We still have elements of the public and particular sectors within society who are pulling against and really resistant of fast-tracking the energy transition. One group I can think of is farmers, and we can remember how divisive the nature restoration law in Europe was in 2023. Number 2, fixing climate finance, because we know climate action requires financial resources. Number 3, the third pillar, putting nature, people, lives and livelihoods at the heart of climate action. And this is a really important pillar because if we strip everything back, I mean, apart from the planet heating up and, the Arctic melting, putting nature, people, lives and livelihoods at the center of our communications to try and get that emotional and that personal resonance that we all have a part to play, and that individual action collectively can make a big difference. And then the 4th pillar, underpinning everything with full inclusivity. And that means that it's not just richer states that can move faster, governments with more money, with more power. We need to think about developing nations. We need to think about island states. We need to think about developing countries because everybody shares this planet and equally. And then throughout COP28, here's what was on the agenda. They took a global stocktake, and really what the ask was to reduce the temperature on this planet by 1.5 degrees. Also to start to completely get rid of fossil fuels, and we saw a number of nation states pull against that ask. The mitigation work programme that has been put in place, the global goal on adaptation, so all of us need to adapt and our governments need public policy on that adaptation. And then finally, climate finance and including financial arrangements for loss and damage due to natural disasters that are catalysed by climate change. So when I was looking at COP28, these pillars really spoke to me, and I think they are great pillars, as I said, to hang your communications hat on. Another thing that I looked at around COP28 for the show was how they communicated what was coming out of it. And I heard one reporter, and I can't remember who it was, I heard a report on radio during COP28, and he said, this is one of the biggest events in the world with global leaders attending, but it feels to me that nobody is listening. And I thought that was a pretty sad statement, if I'm honest. But anyway, I had a look at the communications from COP28, and what I saw was an increased use of influencers, clearly an intention to reach younger audiences, more content on TikTok. There were specific podcasts, there was a live daily blog, there was a hashtag that was running, there were updates on X, there were on-site live streams and interviews. So really, really leaning into the power of social media for targeted messaging and to reach particular groups with particular messages. So if you do want to get some ideas around great comms, have a look at the communications coming from COP28. 28.